Georgia State commuter students will have to use new student Marta passes starting this month. Find out how this change will affect GSU students.
Georgia State adds a new position to the College of Education. Find out how it will affect disabled students.
And the iPhone 5 is now here, so what does this mean for students who want to purchase one or for those who have the iPhone 4S? Good evening, Georgia State. I'm Cody Long.
And I'm Marianne Johnson.
First on Panther Report tonight, GSU and Marta have made some significant changes to the student Marta Pass. Caitlin Leonard has more on that story.
As of fall of 2012, GSU's Auxiliary and Support Services has created a more convenient way of purchasing a student Marta Breeze card. The process is simple. First, bring your Panther ID to Auxiliary and Support Services customer service area to purchase your Marta Breeze card. Then go to any Marta rail station and load at any kiosk by the 22nd of the month to purchase the current month's pass. Loading on or after the 23rd of the month will be for the following month's pass. From home screen, choose Reload Breeze Card, tap your Breeze card on the blue target, choose to load pass, then follow the steps to load your pass and make payment. Cash, credit, and debit are accepted. To learn more detailed information about the new Marta Breeze Pass, we interviewed the GSU Auxiliary and Support Services Director of Marketing, Christopher Connolly.
So one of the main differences between the paper Breeze card and the plastic Breeze card now is that you're no longer having to stand in those annoying lines. Now you just, once you have this plastic card, you just, from the convenience of your phone or from online on your computer, you can update this Breeze card. And now the GSU student part on the Marta card is important for several reasons. One, if you go and get a regular Breeze card at the Marta kiosk or at a customer service window at Marta, it's not going to work the same, meaning you're not going to get the significant discount you get as a student here.
To make sure you stay up to date with GSU's Marta card, please visit www.gsu.edu/parking. This is Caitlin Leonard for GSTV's Panther Report.
GSU's disabled student community is on the verge of reaching new heights. Here is reporter Stephanie Twum with more on this story.
GSU has a wide variety of disabled students. This year, GSU is taking action. Next up, we're going to listen about the challenges that disabled students face every day on campus. Now, does your disability give you any unique challenges on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, sure it does. As far as like getting around and going, using the restroom and different facilities, things like that.
Does your disability present any academic challenges or advantages?
Yeah, one of the advantages is that I could take my test like in the disability office and also get like specialized note takers. I get extra time on tests. Like my class is normally an hour and the test is like 15 minutes, then the professor will give me like 30 minutes instead of like the normal 15. And well, I have a problem taking notes in class, but the disability office does offer a note taker though.
Now, do you think Georgia State accommodates you well for your disability?
Yeah, I do. I've run into a couple of problems, but they're getting taken care of right now. But I think they take care of me pretty good. Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest that GSU should make more accessible for disabled students?
More ramps, wider elevators. From what I see, it seems to be pretty accessible as it is. But I think more ramps and wider elevators is always a good thing.
The latest craze on the mobile scene is the newly released iPhone 5. Everyone seems to be talking about it, but what makes this version so special? Reporter Alexis Carthen has more.
According to USA Today, Apple sold around 5 million iPhone 5s during its first week on the market. With a thinner look and lighter weight, there's no question why consumers are still rushing out to get it. But what else is it missing? And what about the people who just bought the iPhone 4S last year? Some of the iPhone 5's newest features include an HD camera on the front of the phone, updated iOS, a longer screen, and an aluminum back, giving it a similar look to the MacBooks.
My parents ordered it online at 3 a.m. in the morning. My favorite feature on the iPhone 5 would have to be the new navigation, allowing you to see from the satellite view.
Although the sale numbers were well over 1 million than those of the iPhone 4, proving itself the first week, some users of the previous versions of the iPhone are planning to keep their current one.
It's not so different than the 4S that I don't know if I should get the new iPhone 5.
Some are even turning to an Android alternative.
I think I would go more with like the new Samsung Note, probably. I think I'm over iPhone.
With its alluring look and popular features, to many the iPhone 5 is nothing short of amazing. However, to others, the phone is nothing short of another trick to the trade of the Apple company, causing people to wonder how far they will go with this one product.
With technology growing as time goes, I really think that Apple will never stop making new iPhones, especially seeing how high commodity it is.
Reporting from Georgia State University, Alexis Carthen, Panther Report.
This past Friday, GSU won a historic lawsuit case against Cambridge University Press, Oxford University Press, and Sage Publications. The publication companies filed a lawsuit against Georgia State in 2008, accusing the university of copyright law violation by allowing its professors to provide students free electronic access to selected portions of certain textbooks. Judge Orinda Evans rejected nearly all of the copyright claims back in May, finding only 5 occurrences of infringement of nearly 100 alleged cases. The order on Friday brings the case to a close.
Last Wednesday, President Becker delivered the yearly State of the University address. His focus was on last year's accomplishments and hardships the university had to face. Budget cuts and furlough days were brought up, and President Becker predicts that GSU should be at least 18 months away from recovery. President Becker talked about improving graduation rates for its low-income students and an overall elimination of the achievement gap. Georgia State students, staff, alumni, and faculty were recognized.
Tensions were high this past Thursday at the latest SGA meeting. J. Mac Robinson College of Business Senator Ryan Field was up for expulsion after violating the SGA's absence policy. Section 1.6, Article 1 of SGA's bylaws state that a voting member of the Senate is automatically suspended from office by failing to attend 2 unexcused Senate meetings. Vice President Taylor Briggs and President Marcus Kernizan were not pleased with Field's lack of attendance, and because of that, 1,000 students are not being represented. Fields was voted to continue on SGA, but still on probation.
Last semester, GSU students went abroad to countries like Turkey, Greece, China, and Switzerland. These trips not only allowed students to travel, but gave students school credit. Olivia McBride has more on studying abroad.
Have you ever wanted to experience a different culture? Maybe to learn a new language or participate in festive traditions? But were hesitant because you were worried about how it would affect your academic studies here at GSU? Well, good news. GSU offers a wide variety of study abroad programs that will enhance your college experience. For most students, college can be an unforgettable experience, and many professors and deans insist that studying abroad will only enhance your college experience. But unfortunately, for an overwhelming amount of students, affording to study abroad is an issue. A student's safety while studying abroad is also a major concern. So, we were wondering, how can students afford to study abroad, and how did the university that they were studying at make them feel safe?
I had a really caring program director, Layli Mapayan. She was with the Women's Studies Institute at Georgia State. She stayed with us a good portion of the time. We also had a really excellent driver. In Liberia, there are no traffic laws, so it was super important to have a really excellent driver, and thankfully he was really good with us. And so, yeah, I did feel safe while I was there.
The things that I do in this office is to make sure that we have everything we need before students depart, and we do have a set of policies in place just in case something happens when students go abroad. Prior to students leaving, we make sure that they have international medical insurance. We make sure that they are not traveling to a country that is currently on the U.S. Department of State's travel warning list. And we also make sure that we have any emergency contacts necessary, and that the student has access to emergency contacts in the country where they'll be traveling.
The Health and Wellness Collaborative of the Burdine F. Lewis School of Nursing and Health Professions is sponsoring flu vaccinations in the Urban Life Center and the Rec Center. They're offering regular flu vaccines for $20 and high-dose vaccines for $40.
We are really thrilled that we have our nursing students that will be administering the vaccines with supervision from nursing faculty. And as you'll see the students giving the injections, and you'll see a faculty person right there with them. So again, this gives the students the opportunity to get clinical credit for doing this and have the opportunity to give injections.
Vaccinations will take place in the Urban Life Center on October 11th, 16th, and the 23rd. Vaccinations will also take place in the Rec Center on the October 16th, 18th, and the 25th. British anthropologist Jane Goodall made a stop at GSU Monday to kick off the Distinguished Speakers Series. Goodall talks about her conservation program, Roots and Shoots, and how her work with chimpanzees taught her how crucial interaction is for humankind in order to take care of the environment.
Is that every single one of us makes a difference every day, that if we spent a little bit of time learning about and thinking about the consequences of the different choices we may make each day. What do we eat? Where did it come from? How many food miles? Did it involve poisoning the land? Did it involve animal cruelty? The clothes we wear, were they made with child slave labor somewhere, or the cotton that is polluting the fields and draining the water? These kind of questions, thinking of the consequences. If everybody starts making choices, even small ones, that help them to leave a less heavy ecological footprint, and that's happening all around the world, then you can begin to have hope for the future. So we have now, our Roots and Shoots program is in 131 countries.
The Atlanta Beltline has been in work since 2005. It's one of the largest sustainability projects Atlanta has ever taken on, and it's set to be finished soon. GSU had its own contribution to the Beltline. With more on that story, here's Catherine Witherspoon.
Graduate students here at Georgia State University's Welch School of Art and Design constructed a 30-foot bridge sculpture as part of the Atlanta Beltline's 3rd annual Live Art Project.
The Beltline project, the design, came out of a collaboration through discussion of all the students in the class, but it also is a product of the request that the Beltline put forth.
A lot of it had, some of the ideas were dealing with QR codes. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They're the little things you can use a smartphone for that might go to a website and things like that. So you could pull the history in of what you would see in the background of the Beltline, where you would be standing, what happened there historically.
One of the things that we were working through was the artist's role in the public.
And I just am a huge fan of the art projects that have been going on, but this one in particular, they do an optical illusion where it gets smaller as you go through it, so it gives it this it kind of messes with your perception of distance.
This sculpture, which took a little bit over 3 weeks to construct, is located on the corner of Kenyon Street and Kirkwood Avenue. If you haven't seen it yet, you still have time, as it will still be available until mid-November. I'm Catherine Witherspoon, GSTV Panther Report.
Panther Report will be back after these short messages.
Does it feel like your alarm clock goes off earlier every morning? Do you have trouble waking up? Have you seen a doctor about this? If not, you can get your daily dose of caffeine at Saxby's.
Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed said Monday that he was pleased with a compromised panhandling ordinance passed by City Council. It will allow the city to regulate aggressive monetary solicitation across the city. The mayor indicated that it offered a balance between tough enforcement and offering humane services to the homeless. It represents a compromise between the mayor and the City Council after an amendment to the city's commercial ordinance that was vetoed by Mayor Reed last month. That amendment called for up to 180 days in jail if convicted of a first offense for an aggressive panhandling violation. Under the compromise, after a first conviction, a violator could be sentenced to up to 30 days of community service. The second conviction would require 30 days in jail, and any more after that would require at least 90 days in jail.
The office of U.S. Representative Paul Braun of Georgia isn't commenting following the video that was released last week in which Mr. Braun labeled evolution, embryology, and the Big Bang Theory as, quote, lies straight from the pits of hell. The remarks are now widely available across the web, including YouTube. The conservative Republican is running unopposed this November and sits on the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology. His comments have received sharp criticism from scientists across the country.
The 8th Annual Atlanta Asian Film Festival is going on right now through October 20th. Films are being shown from a variety of Asian countries at Georgia State's movie theater Cinefest in the University Center. You can go to the festival's website for a complete list of screenings, times, and locations. That's atlaff.org.
Health officials for the Center for Disease Control say the death toll has risen to 8 in a rare fungal meningitis outbreak across 9 states. The cause of the meningitis outbreak has been linked to an injectable steroid medication produced and distributed by a manufacturer in Massachusetts. Since the outbreak, 105 cases have been reported. The CDC confirmed that this form of fungal meningitis is not contagious.
The decision for colleges and universities to use race in their quest to create a diverse student body is back in the Supreme Court. Justices will decide whether to limit the practice to be more race neutral or repeal the practice altogether. Critics of affirmative action are hopeful the Supreme Court will reverse the practice after evidence released last week showing 9 states that have outlawed race in admissions have succeeded in bringing diversity to their campuses. According to the Associated Press, Supreme Court justices will be looking at schools that use race in admissions, like the University of Texas that was sued after a white Texan was denied acceptance.
Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez won 54% of the Venezuelan vote. He defeated Henrique Capriles Radonsky in Sunday's closely watched election. Chavez vowed to move forward with socialist reforms throughout his upcoming 6-year term.
The Turkish Military Prosecutor's Office concluded that the Turkish fighter jet was indeed shot down by a Syrian missile in June of this year. The Turks have responded by firing into Syria just weeks after the incident, despite the comment from the Turkish Prime Minister's senior aide, which states, quote, Turkey does not want war with Syria, but Turkey is capable of protecting its borders and will retaliate if necessary. Turkey and Syria exchanged artillery fire for the 5th straight day Sunday, and the U.S. is backing the actions of the Turkish government and Syrian opposition forces.
The Israeli military is launching strikes on Gaza after rockets were launched by Palestinian militants last week. The rockets landed in Israel's Eshkol region, and Hamas and Islamic Jihad are maintaining that their actions were in response to Sunday's Israeli airstrike, which injured 7 civilians and killed 1. In a statement, the Israeli military said that the attempt to harm any Israeli civilian won't be tolerated, and the Hamas terror organization is solely responsible for the attacks from the Gaza Strip. No one was injured during the Gaza rocket attacks.
A new rescue fund for the Eurozone's struggling banks launched today, and it is goaled to have a lending capacity of 500 billion euros by 2014. The fund is called the European Stability Mechanism, or the ESM, and will eventually replace the current European Financial Stability Facility. Countries will make their first payments toward the fund this week with Germany, Europe's largest economy, contributing 27%.
According to a House Intelligence Committee report, after an investigation, the U.S. Congressional panel is suggesting that a large global Chinese telecom firm, both Huawei and ZTE, be barred from any U.S. mergers and acquisitions. The report was very critical of the two firms and determined that due to the possibility of foreign state influences, that they pose a security threat to United States systems. China's foreign ministry is urging the U.S. to set aside prejudice regarding the two firms and prioritize the beneficial nature of international trade relations.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in to GSTV. We are the Executive Board members of Student Government Association, and my name is Marcus Kernizan, your president.
I'm Taylor Briggs, the Executive Vice President.
My name is Christian Hill, Vice President of Student Services.
My name is Adriana Meshoni. I'm your Vice President of Academic Affairs.
My name is Theo Muhamuza. I'm your Vice President of Budget and Finance.
I'm Danielle Kleiman, and I am your Vice President of Public Relations.
My name is Jarrell Abrams, and I am your Vice President of Student Life.
Are you worried about your schedule getting in the way of the educational and cutting-edge seminars that Georgia State University has to offer? Well, we have great news for you. Starting this semester, these seminars will be available online thanks to GSTV and a partnership from us here at Student Government Association. From the prospect of resume building to the distinctive keynote speakers, we know that these seminars will help enrich your student experience.
Thanks for tuning in, and remember, our student government sit-in meetings will be broadcast live on GSTV every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Go Panthers!
Oh, God.
Brent Yancey here with your Panther Report Sports Update. This past Saturday, the Panthers lost their sixth straight game against the University of New Hampshire. The Panthers lost 44-21. Freshman quarterback Ben McClain came off the bench and led the Panthers with 169 passing yards and 2 touchdown passes. Junior receiver Albert Wilson had 105 receiving yards, including touchdown catches of 54 and 47 yards. New Hampshire scored a touchdown at the 13-minute, 32-second mark in the fourth quarter, and GSU's McClain found Wilson in the end zone with a 47-yard touchdown pass that cut New Hampshire's lead to 44-21 with 4 minutes, 51 seconds left to play in the game. Unfortunately, the Panthers could not catch up. The Panthers' next game will be away on October 16th at 1 p.m. against Rhode Island. Georgia's own credit union, a sponsor for GSU football, held a $10,000 money drop this past Saturday. Fans that were at the GSU New Hampshire game had $10,000 drop on them, and fans were able to grab as much money as they could. This should be a motivator for all GSU students to attend the football games because you never know when they'll drop cash. GSU has a new sport coming this spring. Sand volleyball has been added to the GSU athletics. GSU is one of the first 25 teams in the NCAA to have a sand volleyball team. The team has 12 members from states like Texas, Arizona, Michigan, Ohio, and Georgia. GSU began recruiting players last November for its 2013 season. The team is coached by head coach Tammy Audia and assistant coach and former GSU student athlete Beth Van Fleet. A sad end to his career. Chipper Jones of the Atlanta Braves ended his career on Friday with a loss against the St. Louis Cardinals. This game would have led the Braves to the playoffs, but instead the Cardinals took the spot in the playoffs. Braves lost 6-3 after what many believe could have been prevented if the controversial infield fly rule had not been called. On the other hand, the Atlanta Falcons did win this past Sunday against the Washington Redskins, 24-17. The Falcons are 5-0, a first in franchise history. Falcons play home against the Oakland Raiders this Sunday at 1 p.m. That's all for your sports update. I'm Brent Yancey, Panther Report.
I'm sure those football fans are certainly happy that somebody's winning a game.
I am, I know that. That's all for your Panther Report news. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode.
Don't forget to check us out on Channel 91 in University Housing and on YouTube. GSTV Panther Report every Wednesday at 6 p.m.
And make sure to visit our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Panther Report. I'm Cody Long.
And I'm Ariane Johnson. Have a good night.